Hi everyone, in this video, I am going to talk about Canada's PNP immigration pathways through Express Entry. Canada's Provincial Nominee program exists to welcome economic class immigrants to Canada. Under the Immigration Levels Plan 2022 to 2024, the PNP is the main economic class immigration program for this year and the next. In previous years, Express Entry has been the main immigration pathway. Almost all the provinces and territories operate their own PNPs. Each has at least one immigration stream that is aligned with the Express Entry system. Let's talk about how enhanced PNPs work. When a PNP is aligned with Express Entry, it is known as an enhanced PNP. In order to get an enhanced PNP, candidates first need to be eligible for one of the Express Entry managed programs, Federal Skilled Worker Program, Canadian Experience Class, or the Federal Skilled Trades Program. If an Express Entry candidate meets the PNP's eligibility criteria, the province may send them an invitation to apply for a provincial nomination. The nomination is not the same as an invitation to apply for permanent residence. Candidates respond to the invitation by applying to the province for a nomination. Express Entry candidates who successfully receive a nomination from an enhanced PNP get 600 comprehensive ranking system points added to their base score, which essentially guarantees they will receive an ITA in a subsequent Express Entry round of invitations. Generally speaking, PNP eligibility criteria include items relating to work experience, education, and language ability. There are oftentimes also requirements for adequate settlement funds and an intent to move to the nominating province. A list of Canada's enhanced PNPs, and some descriptions of some of the qualities that can make you eligible for each. Now, let's talk about Ontario Human Capital Priorities. Express Entry candidates who are eligible for either the FSWP or the CEC may be invited under Ontario's Human Capital Priority stream. The Ontario Immigrant Nominee Program will hold rounds of invitations and invite potentially eligible Express Entry candidates to apply for a nomination. These draws may be targeted for candidates with work experience in certain in-demand occupations. In 2019, Ontario introduced tech draws, where the province periodically invites candidates with work experience in 6 in-demand tech occupations. Now, let's talk about Ontario Skilled Trades Stream. Ontario's Express Entry Skilled Trades Stream is a pathway for skilled trades workers with work experience in an eligible trade. Candidates need at least 1 year of full-time paid work experience in an occupation listed in Minor Group 633 or Major Group 72, 73, or 82 of the National Occupational Classification System. Eligible candidates also need to be living in Ontario with a valid work permit. In addition to other eligibility criteria, candidates need to have a license or certification from the Ontario College of Trades. Now, let's talk about Ontario French-speaking skilled worker, FSWP, and CEC candidates with strong skills in both French and English may be eligible for a nomination through the French-speaking skilled worker stream. Eligible candidates also need at least a bachelor's degree completed in Canada or abroad. It is not necessary to be in Ontario at the time of applying for this stream. But you have to demonstrate you intend to reside in the province. Now, let's talk about Alberta immigration pathways for Express Entry. The Alberta Advantage Immigration Program offers immigration pathways for Express Entry candidates. Now, let's talk about Alberta Express Entry Stream. The Alberta Express Entry Stream is for candidates in the Express Entry system who have a CRS score of at least 300, and who are currently working in an eligible occupation. Now, let's talk about Alberta Accelerated Tech Pathway. The Alberta Accelerated Tech Pathway is open to Express Entry candidates who are currently working in Alberta's technology industry or who have received a job offer in one of 38 eligible tech occupations. Now, let's talk about British Columbia Provincial Nominee Skilled Worker Program. The skilled worker category is for people who have received an eligible job offer in a skilled occupation and have several years of experience in their skilled occupation. Now, let's talk about BC Healthcare Professional. Under this category, Express Entry candidates may apply if they have experience in eligible job offers as physicians, nurses, psychiatric nurses, or allied health professionals. Now, let's talk about BC International Graduate. This category is for international students who have graduated from an eligible Canadian university or college within the last 3 years. A job offer is required from BC employer in order for express entry candidates to be eligible under this subcategory. Now, let's talk about BC International Postgraduate. This category is for graduates with master's or doctoral degrees from an eligible educational institution in British Columbia in the natural, applied, or health sciences programs of study. No job offer is required to apply under this subcategory. Now, let's talk about Manitoba immigration pathways for express entry. The Manitoba Express Entry pathway is open to candidates who meet the eligibility criteria and have experience in a Manitoba in-demand occupation, and who are eligible under another Manitoba immigration stream. Now, let's talk about Saskatchewan immigration pathways for express entry. The Saskatchewan Express Entry program is for express entry candidates who have work experience and have at least 1 year of full-time paid work experience in the province within the last 3 years. A high school diploma or higher is required, and candidates must be between the ages of 21 and 55 years old, among other criteria. Now, let's talk about international graduates in demand. The Nova Scotia International Graduates in Demand stream is for express entry candidates who have job offers as nurses' aides, orderlies, patient service associates, as well as early childhood educators and assistants. Eligible candidates must have completed a course of study that is at least 30 weeks long within the last 3 years. At least half of the program must have been completed in Nova Scotia. Now, let's talk about labor market priorities. In order to be eligible for the labor market priorities stream, you need to meet the specific eligibility requirements in a Nova Scotia nominee program draw. Beyond meeting the work experience requirements for the express entry managed program that you are eligible for, you must have enough money to settle permanently in Nova Scotia. Now, let's talk about labor market priorities for physicians. Express entry candidates who wish to immigrate under the labor market priorities for physicians must have a job offer from the Nova Scotia Health Authority or IWK Health Centre as a general practitioner, family physician or a specialist physician. It is also required for candidates to commit to stay in the province for 2 years, by sending a signed return for service agreement to the Nova Scotia Department of Health and Wellness. Now, let's talk about Prince Edward Island Express Entry. Prince Edward Island Express Entry candidates must be eligible for the FSWP, CEC, or FSTP and have a valid Express Entry profile. Candidates are also required to have an active profile in PEI's Expression of Interest system. Now, let's talk about New Brunswick Express Entry. According to a Government of New Brunswick webpage, the New Brunswick Express Entry stream was paused until further notice on May 20. This immigration program is for express entry candidates who are living in the province and have a job seeker validation code or proof of enrollment in a post-graduation work permit eligible program at a federally designated post-secondary institution. Now, let's talk about Newfoundland and Labrador Express Entry. Newfoundland and Labrador's Express Entry skilled worker category provides a pathway for skilled workers with job offers. Candidates also need to score at least 67 out of 100 points on the PNP points assessment grid. There are also minimum work experience requirements depending on a candidate's profession. Now, let's talk about Northwest Territories Express Entry. Northwest Territories Express Entry is a PNP for express entry candidates who have job offers in Northwest Territories. Candidates also need to have expressed interest in immigrating to the territory. Now, let's talk about Yukon Express Entry. Express Entry candidates can get a nomination through Yukon Express Entry if they have a full-time job offer in the territory. They also have to demonstrate they have enough settlement funds to support themselves and their family. Enhanced PNPs give express entry candidates a chance to move to the top of the line for an ITA while supporting provincial population and economic growth strategies. For some, a provincial nomination can make all the difference. In the end, I would like to request you please like the video and subscribe Canada Immigration Explore YouTube channel and also share this video to your friends and family members for Canada immigration updates. Thank you, see you in the next video, take care.